Sir John Cheke was an English classical scholar and statesman, notable as the first Regius Professor of Greek at Cambridge University, the son of Peter Cheke, esquire, who was Bedell of Cambridge University. He was educated at St John's College, Cambridge, where he became a Fellow in 1529. While there he adopted the principles of the Reformation. His learning gained him an exhibition from the king, and in 1540, on Henry VIII's foundation of the Regius Professorships, he was elected to the chair of Greek. Amongst his pupils at St John's were William Cecil, later Lord Burleigh, who married Cheke's sister Mary, and Roger Ascham, who in the Schoolmaster gives Cheke the highest praise for scholarship and character. Together with Sir Thomas Smith, he introduced a new method of Greek pronunciation very similar to that commonly used in England in the 19th century. It was strenuously opposed in the university, where the continental method prevailed, and Bishop Gardiner, as Chancellor, issued a decree against it, but Cheke ultimately triumphed. Although a scholar of Greek, Cheke was against the over-borrowing of Greek words into English and supported English linguistic purism. He wrote, "I am of this opinion that our own tongue should be written clean and pure, unmixed and unmangled with borrowing of other tongues, wherein if we take not heed by time, ever borrowing and never paying, she shall be fain to keep her house as bankrupt." On the 10th of July 1544 he was confirmed as tutor to the future King Edward VI of England, to teach him of tongues, of the Scripture, of philosophy and all liberal sciences. After his pupil's accession to the throne he continued in this role. Marriage. About 1547 Cheke married Mary, daughter of Richard Hill, sergeant of the wine cellar, to Henry VIII, and by her he had 3 sons. Henry Cheke became a Member of Parliament and was translator of an Italian morality play Free Will. Henry's son Thomas Cheke was also a Member of Parliament and settled at Pirgo in Essex. Politics and Parliament. Cheke was active in public life. He sat as member for Bletchingley, for the Parliaments of 1547 and 1552 to 1553. He was made Provost of King's College, Cambridge, was one of the commissioners for visiting that university as well as the University of Oxford and Eton College, and was appointed with 7 divines to draw up a body of laws for the governance of the Church. On the 11th of October 1551 he was knighted. He served as a Chamberlain of the Exchequer from 1552 to 1553, and in June 1553 was made one of the Secretaries of State, joining the Privy Council. His Protestantism led him to follow the Duke of Northumberland, and he filled the office of Secretary of State for Lady Jane Grey during her 9 days' reign. In consequence, Queen Mary threw him into the Tower of London and confiscated his property. He was, however, released on the 3rd of September 1554, and granted permission to travel abroad. Cheke went first to Basel, then visited Italy, giving lectures in Greek at Padua, where he entertained Sir Philip Hoby. He finally settled at Strasbourg, teaching Greek for his living. In the spring of 1556 he visited Brussels to see his wife. On his way back between Brussels and Antwerp, he and Sir Peter Cheke were seized on the 15th of May, by order of Philip II of Spain, and returned to England, where he was imprisoned in the Tower. Cheke was visited by 2 priests and by Dr. John Feckenham, Dean of St. Paul's, whom he had formerly tried to convert to Protestantism. Terrified by the prospect of being burned at the stake, he agreed to be received into the Church of Rome by Cardinal Pole. Overcome with shame, he did not long survive, but died in London, carrying, as Thomas Fuller remarked in Church History, God's pardon and all good men's pity along with him. Cheke finally surrendered ownership of Barnardiston Manor to Queen Mary on the 31st of May 1557. Biographical materials. Thomas Wilson, in the epistle prefix to his translation of the Iliad in the Acts of Demosthenes, has a long and most interesting eulogy of Cheke, and Thomas Nash, into the Gentleman's Student's prefix to Robert Greene's Menaphon, called him the exchequer of eloquence. Sir John Cheke, a man of men, supernaturally traded in all tongues. Many of Cheke's works are still in manuscript, some have been altogether lost. One of the most interesting from a historical point of view is The Hurt of Sedition, how grievous it is to a commune wide, written on the occasion of Kett's rebellion, republished in 1569, 1576 and 1641, on the last occasion with a life of the author by Gerard Langbaine. Other publication he wrote included De Joannis Chrysostomi Homiliae Duo, the first entire Greek book known to have been printed in England. De Joannis Chrysostomi de Providentia Dei appeared in, followed in Queen Mary's reign, the Gospel according to St. Matthew translated, and De Obitu Martini Buceri. De Apparatu Bellico was published at Basel in 1554, but was dedicated to Henry VIII as early as 1544, was translated into English. Carmen Heroicum aut epithium in Antonium Densium and De Pronunciatione Graecii Lingua. He also translated several Greek works, and lectured admirably upon Demosthenes. A biographical life was written by John Cheke and published in 1705, editions by J. Gough Nichols in the journal Archaeologia XXXVIII, 98 I-27.